You know what they say, right? TGIM. Thank God it's Monday. You know what I'm saying? So, here's the thing. Let's talk about this because this has been coming up a bit lately. It's been something that I've been consistently running into over and over and over again. Let's talk about profitability. Sounds good, right? Everybody wants to be profitable. Everybody wants to make some money. But here's the thing. And we're going to look at this from the perspective of financing, from the perspective of a lender, right? Inconsistent, erratic, sporadic, whatever you want to call it, cash flow, right? I mean, it's great at the end of the year or throughout the year when you're doing your P&L statements, your profit and loss statements, or, your year-end financials type stuff. It's great to see a profit there, right? But here's the thing. It doesn't mean that much when you're talking to a lender. Here's why. And this is probably going to trigger some of you, but that's okay. Y'all need to hear it, right? So when applying for a loan, when we're looking at the statements, right? Looking at your bank statements, what happens? If we're looking at the bank statements and the lender's seeing something like, you've done, say you're consistently doing like 20, 25 grand. And then you have a month where you shoot up to like 80, 100 grand in the month. And then you drop down to 6 or 5, right? That concerns lenders, right? It freaks them out. They don't like to see that. They don't like to see that erratic cash flow, the inconsistent cash flow. Because what they look at is they're assessing your ability to repay a loan, right? So when they see these massive swings in your cash flow, kind of sets up a little bit of flags, right? We all get it. Some months we have good months, some months we have bad months. But when you're talking like $50,000, $70,000 swings, stuff like that, very tough, right? Very hard. And the next thing that they're going to look at is it comes down to what is your cash on hand, right? How much cash is available? Well, if you're consistently sitting between like no cash in the account at the end of the month, or maybe 2-3 grand at the end of the month, again, that shows in their eyes some sort of duress or some sort of stress in the company financials, right? Bear with me. Here's why. Because they're looking at your ability to repay the loan, right? Whatever they lend you, they want to know that you're going to be able to make up your payments. Reputable lenders like the ones we work with, they don't want to put you at risk of defaulting on your loan, bouncing payments, or even going out of business because you can't handle debt, right? That's it. It's simple. So when they're looking at these massive swings in your bank account, these massive revenue swings, and they're looking at like little to no cash available at the end of the month, doesn't instill very much confidence, right? Because what they say is like, okay, well, you had a great month. Why are you about even or even less than? Why do you have about the same or even less than your normal amount of cash on hand after a big month? Should have a lot more cash on hand, right? Because you just had a good month. So what that says behind the scenes, like the next thing that goes through their mind is, okay, well, you had this big month, you're spending that much more, or we don't know what you're doing with your money. I mean, we can go through your bank account with a fine tooth comb, but it doesn't do any justice. So it goes to reason that you should have more cash on hand available. So if the business is having those fluctuations, they're fluctuating with their cash on hand, they're staying about the same. What confidence does that give of a lender that you're going to be able to pay back your loan on time? You're not going to default on payments, right? Not very much, because they're going to be doing their calculations. Each lender has their own risk score, their own calculations on how they calculate the payments and the loan and stuff like that, right? So if you're sitting about the same or less, they go, well, how are you going to repay this, right? Maybe the loan, maybe you're paying like 2 grand a week, right? Or $1,500 a week. But every single month, it doesn't matter how much money you're making, you have less than $1,000 left in your account. They're not going to approve you. They're going to say it's too much risk, right? So yes, it's great to see that profitability at the end of the year. It's great to see that you're making money. But when it comes to figuring out like applying for a loan, right, it goes a lot deeper than that, right? It's all about your ability to repay, and it's all about the risk. And sometimes there's just too much risk, right? They don't care about the profitability necessarily. Like they do, they care about your profitability, but they care even more that you're going to be able to service your obligations. And if that's not being reflected because everything is super crazy, super all over the place, they're going to leave the table, or they're going to give you an offer that maybe you don't like because it's a little bit higher interest or whatever the case may be, right? That's what I got for you guys. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful Monday. Kick some butt, take some names, go get some. Cheers.